Oh, yes, we are back. Welcome along to the Next Gen Racing YouTube channel for a Christmas special. You didn't think we were going to leave you that long, did you? We had to be back to cover this festive period of racing. Really looking forward to what's going to be a great period of just sport in general. So much going on, the football, the darts, the racing, and obviously Christmas with the family. Really looking forward to that. And I'm joined by Jack, as always, out in Hong Kong and Christmas in Hong Kong this year, Jack. Is that right?
Yeah, it will be. Not coming back for Christmas this year. It only came out a couple of months ago, so I feel like it'd be cheating somewhat if I came back. But it's much warmer here, so I'm not. It's a different Christmas for sure, but hopefully we'll be able to find some pigs and blankets somewhere.
And how was the big week out there, the international racing week there? It was absolutely incredible watching it on the telly.
Yeah, Hong Kong International Races. What a week it was! It's nearly 3 weeks ago now. It was sorry, 2 weeks ago now. It was some week for sure. I mean, Golden 60 doing what Golden 60's done, but I mean on a different level. I mean, for an 8-year-old to go and win in the manner he won was just insane. And then of course Romantic Warrior and Lucky Sweynesse for the top three horses in the joint to go and do what they did in Hong Kong on the international stage was just fantastic. It was a brilliant day and a very feel good day as well.
Absolutely. I really want to get into the racing as quick as possible, Jack, but I just want to discuss. I don't know how much you've been catching of the sport over here, but I don't know. I saw the atmosphere for the racing was incredible out there in Hong Kong, but there was a special darts player in the first round just a couple of days ago, Man Lok Leung, who won an incredible first round match. I don't know how into the darts Hong Kong are, but he seems to be their next big star in the sport.
Oh yeah, it was absolutely fantastic, wasn't it? It seems like he's become a cult hero almost on social media, on Twitter. One of my favourite replies was, "I'm not getting ahead of myself, but I've seen enough. This guy's going to win the whole thing." I thought it was fantastic. Obviously, just taking the Mickey there slightly, but no, I mean, I haven't actually seen too much about it. I was hoping to see him come back before the next round and do a nice little parade or something. But no, I'll be keeping eagle eyed and watching him go next round. I actually don't even know how to pronounce his name properly. That's bad for me.
Man, look, Liang, really looking forward to
There
it. He
you go.
looks exciting. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the rest of the darts. Been incredible already, but we're going to be covering the racing. That's why we're here, and we're going to kick off in date order. We're going to kick off on the 26th with the big one from Kempton at 2:30. There, the 3 mile Ladbrokes King George Chase. This is a Grade One where, at the moment, at the time of recording, we haven't got the full declarations. We know roughly who may or may not go, but we've got Allaho as the 15-8 favourite. Brave Man's Game is 11-4. Shishkin is 13-2. Jerry Kalam is 7-1. Lom Press is 10-1. Roll Bagai and the Real Whacker also 10-1. I'm looking at 25-1 and bigger the rest. Now, a couple of years ago, Jack, you picked out a huge price. I want to say 28-1. I might be wrong there. Winner of this race in a Tornado Flyer for Team Mullins, which wasn't the expected Mullins horse. I just have a feeling we're all debating about horses going and not going to this race. Could there be another shock on the cards in a race like this?
I think there could be, but it's the big question of who's it going to be. You're scratching your head left, right, and centre, aren't you? Because obviously you can pick holes in Allaho. I don't know if the 3 miles in Kempton's actually going to suit him. To be honest, he's a relentless galloper. I think you almost need a little bit of a. He's a very strong traveller, but I almost think you need a little bit of a change of gear, which I'm not too sure he quite showed last time out after 560 days off the track. Of course, that was just blowing off the cobwebs. He's very unexposed over 3 miles. He was third in the Albert Bartlett. He won the Punchestown Gold Cup the last time we saw him before his big break. But I'm not sure it's going to suit him. Brave Man's Game, you can pick holes in this year. Of course, beaten in the Betfair Chase and on his penultimate outing in the Charlie Hall. And Shishkin's another one who's 13-2, but I mean, he showed his temperamental in the Ryanair and last time at Ascot when he refused to race. And if he's off the bridle early like he is in the Ryanair, I give him zero chance.
Yeah, they've obviously said what they've said about him starting. They've had sort of tests, and it is what it is. If he does jump off, he's going to go much shorter in play, isn't he? Now, I looked at this and I thought Hewitt might be overpriced. I looked for his form and actually questioned it a little bit. But the one that I think is just a ridiculous price at 66-1 would be Frodon. Now, he maybe past it. Let's not get this wrong, but he ran a mighty race off top weight in the Badger Beers last time out. And look at this horse's form in a King George. Like, he's won one already, finished fourth the following year. He finished third last year from the front end. And the race where he did finish fourth in, he actually got into a bit of a mess with Manila Indo up front where they just went at a ridiculous pace and just didn't quite suit. Manila Indo ended up being pulled up, and then Frodon ended up dropping back into fourth. But last year, Frodon ran a massive race from the front. I am not saying that he is a really good bet to win this race, but I'd be shocked if he's not in the front sort of 3 or 4 here. I just think it takes a lot of horses from a horse to try and get past a horse like Frodon. He's not having to carry a top weight. He's off level weights with a lot of these. So I'd say he is a good bet. If Bryony Frost gets this horse into a rhythm from the front end, I think 66 to 1 is far too big. Am I being stupid there, Jack?
You're going to find this quite funny, actually, because I'm going to put up Frodon as well at 66.
Oh, my God.
I know how bad it is. I even went for a Frodon colours shirt just for the video. I actually think he's got a decent chance of grabbing a place, you know. As you say, look, he may not be good enough to win, and if he finds one of Allaho, Brave Man's Game, or Shishkin, or even two of them too good, I don't mind. But at the moment, it looks like we're probably going to have a maximum field of 8, and you're getting 3 places each way at 66 to 1. As you said, he's an 11-year-old. He's the 2020 winner. He's definitely past his best. But I mean, as you said, he's been first, fourth, and third in the race. He seems to get into a lovely rhythm around Kempton. He just bowls along out in front. Last year, I mean, he plugged on, of course, Long Press fell, which did help him out, and he was kind of given a place there. But I mean, as we say, he's clearly past his best, but he's had to lug 12 stone around, giving bundles of weight to his rivals on his last 3 outings. He's back off level weights, and I just have a sneaky suspicion that this King George swan song for him might actually go a little bit better than most people were thinking. As we both said, he's 11 years old, he's past his best, but he loves Kempton, and he loves Kempton so much, and I think at 66 to 1, he's definitely worth a selection. My other one is actually going to be Brave Man's Game, though. He's 2 from 2 round Kempton. He brushed aside a hoist and you're in the Quarto Star, and then he was absolutely travelling all over Long Press before winning comfortably last year. He was beaten by progressing Gentleman's Game in the Charlie Hall. We gave him £6 that day, and he was outstayed by Royal Bugai over the extended 3 miles and a furlong in the Betfair Chase. Harry Cobden's back on board. He's back to his happy hunting ground. He's unbeaten here. Funnily enough, for those of you that like to look at Racing Post ratings, his Racing Post rating in the Charlie Hall and Betfair Chase this year was actually higher than it was with the 165 he was given last year when he won the Charlie Hall. So he's actually clearly going okay. He's been giving weight away. He's clearly still a strong traveller, an exuberant jumper. He's very, I mean, watching him jump is fantastic. He's still a very exuberant jumper. He's not the most efficient in the world, but he clears obstacles like they're hurdles. And look, I think 11 to 4, Allaho's got a lot more to prove than Brave Man's Game does. And I think at 11 to 4, I think we may even have a Paul Nicholls forecast in the King George this year.
God, we've been away far too long from each other because we're both going to be on the same sort of bet because I think Brave Man's Game's the one to beat, and I think Frodon is way overpriced. I mean, Frodon's form was actually franked, wasn't it, over the weekend? I think at Doncaster. Was it the 6th in the race? Forward Plan came out and won at Doncaster, and certainly Red's run a really nice race since in the London National Handicap Chase. The form of Frodon, that race in the Badger Beer was actually very good. And like I say, if this horse gets into a rhythm under Bryony Frost, it's going to run a massive race. A Brave Man's Game and Frodon for myself and Jack in the King George. Let's move on then to the 27th, where we head off to Chepstow for their big race. This isn't going to be easy. It's not easy to pick out the day, let alone from an anti-post point of view, but it's the Welsh Grand National Handicap Chase over 3 mile, 6.5 furlongs, where Montpeg Genius is the 6 to 1 favourite. Super Survivors 7 to 1. Nassalam for the Gary Moore team is 10 to 1. I Will Do It is 12 to 1. Dunboyne is 14 to 1. Autonomous Cloud and Chambard 16 to 1. Looking at bigger the rest in here. Everyone would think I'm going to put up Nassalam here, but I'm not. I don't think Nassalam is going to win this at all. I thought the display last time in the trial was very good. Do not get me wrong. And I know the Gary Moore team are hitting some exceptional form at this moment in time, but the horse that I quite like in here is Highland Hunter. For the Fergal O'Brien team. Now, this horse was actually unseated in the Beecher Chase a couple of weeks back on Tingle Creek weekend, but they're at Aintree, obviously, behind Chambard. But prior to that, was second to Elvis Mail and looked really good. This was his first start for Fergal O'Brien after joining from Paul Nicholls. And I was quite excited to see how this horse went in a Beecher Chase. Now, obviously, the fences probably didn't suit, and it wasn't actually, he was actually in a nice rhythm before unseating the rider over those big Aintree fences. But this horse has actually been dropped £1 after that run at Aintree. I'm not 100% sure why, but been dropped to 146. And I am excited over sort of these staying trips to see how this horse goes. Now, a lot of people will be more excited about the Fergal O'Brien trained Autonomous Cloud in here at 16 to 1. I mean, Highland Hunter's 20 to 1, but I think Highland Hunter's got a lot to show. I'm looking forward to seeing how he goes. I really, really am. And the other one would be Cloudy Glen if turning up here at 50 to 1. I thought Cloudy Glen ran a massive race behind That's All Right Junior in the Coral Gold Cup a few weeks back. And this horse over a staying trip, I think this horse will actually really appreciate a Welsh national trip. Quite excited to see this. And Venetia Williams, she just can't stop banging in winners, can she? So if she were to send Cloudy Glen there, I'd have that horse at 50 to 1 each way. And I'll be having a win bet on Highland Hunter at 20 to 1. There'd be my two. Jack, who are your two?
My two, I can't let Monbeg Genius go and win without being on him, unfortunately. I know it's boring. I know he's 6 to 1. He needed the prep run at Ascot. It was a good run in the Coral Gold Cup last time out. He kept on willingly. He's clearly well handicapped, still off 147. It looked like he was a little bit tapped for toe actually early in the Coral Gold Cup, and he got into a good rhythm there. Nassalam's been absolutely revitalised by the blinkers that they added last time out. I know they put him on. I think it was at Fontwell a year and a half ago, but he's £4 well in, so you do have to respect him. I mean, he was very impressive last time. But my other selection, other than Monbeg Genius, I actually really fancy, who was just behind Monbeg Genius last time out in the Coral Gold Cup. Eldorado Allen is 40 to 1, and I'm not sure this is definitely the plan for him. But if it is, I think 40 to 1 is a humongous price. He slipped down to an attractive mark of 153 now. He went an absolute cracker in behind Monbeg Genius. Over the final 3 furlongs, he was actually 2 lengths quicker than Monbeg Genius. I just think as he's got older, he's got into great rhythms during his race, and he's just been crying out for a step up in a trip and step up in trip. Even when he was 4th in the King George last year, I was a little bit umming whether he'd actually suit the 3-mile trip, but he stepped up to there pretty well. He was rated 162 when he was 4th in the King George last year. And intriguingly, these connections won the Welsh National with Elegant Escape back in 2018. And Elegant Escape finished 2nd in the Coral Gold Cup, or as it was then, the Ladbrokes Trophy, before coming to win this. So it's a similar route. I know he has to burden 12 stone, but he's been doing that. He did that gallantly, I thought, burdening a tough weight last time in the Coral Gold Cup. Yes, it is top weight, but the amount of times we see top weight go in these big handicaps, I think, goodness me, it was so glaringly obvious. And I think Eldorado Allen at 40 to 1, it's a humongous price. And if he can manage to burden the top weight and appreciate the step up in trip, I see him there or thereabouts.
Okay, Monbeg Genius 6 to 1, Eldorado Allen 40 to 1 for Jack, and I'm going to give Highland Hunter at 20 to 1 and Cloudy Glen at 50s in the Coral Welsh National. We move across the 27. Well, we stay at the 27. We move across to the Irish action at Leopardstown, which we start off with the future champion Novice Hurdle. Down memory lane, currently topping the market there at 3 to 1. Daddy Longlegs is 7 to 2. Firefox 11 to 2. Bright Days Ahead is 8 to 1. It's For Me is 8 to 1. Il Atlantique is 10 to 1 and 12 to 1, and Bigger the Rest. Now, I don't get too stuck into the Novice Hurdles, Jack, probably actually until the Dublin Racing Festival. I like to watch these races and then sort of start having to look potentially to have a bet in them when the action gets a lot tougher come sort of the Dublin Race Festival and Cheltenham, Aintree, etc. But there are some interesting horses in here. Obviously, Daddy Longlegs was very impressive last time out. Down memory lane looked very good. Firefox, probably the one that everyone got excited about after beating Ballyburn. Brighter Days Ahead, she looks very exciting. Il Atlantique, I think, is a horse for Mullins who probably looks an Albert Bartlett horse, but he's entered here at 2 miles. But Mullins is going to have plenty of entries in here early, so you've just got to take a guess at which ones are going to turn up. I like Daddy Longlegs. He's a bit of a hype horse for the Supreme. I know he was well backed, but I won't be having a bet on him, but I'll be excited to see how well he goes in terms of a Supreme later down the line. What did you look at in this race, Jack?
Yeah, I completely agree. It's one of those that you like to watch and hopefully see a superstar come out or something intriguing. Completely agree. I think Daddy Longlegs, it was an impressive debut. From a time point of view, it was pretty respectable in comparison to the other 2 mile and half a furlong races on the same day, including Fun. So I think he'll be able to take a step forward. Only a 4-year-old, of course, going on 5, but I think he probably is actually marginally the one to beat over down memory lane. And as you say, Firefox, I'm surprised Firefox isn't a little bit shorter, to be honest. 11 to 2, actually bigger than the 2 probably most aesthetically pleasing in Daddy Longlegs and Down Memory Lane because Firefox was beaten on debut. But I do think that Firefox is probably the one who's done the most so far. But I reckon that Daddy Longlegs has the more to give on his second run. So I'll be with Daddy Longlegs, and Firefox will probably snag second.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing how those both get on in that future Champion Novice Hurdle. We move again on to the 27th. We stay at 27th with Rewards Club Chase. The Paddy Rewards Club Chase. Captain Guinness topping the market at 6-4. Dino Blues 5-1. Gentleman to Me is 6-1. Appreciate It 8. Phildor 10s. Dysart Dynamo and Sam Ra are 20-1 outsiders of the field. Captain Guinness, I actually would have been with this horse, taking on John Bon in a Tingle Creek. So I probably would have to say that I would be siding with this horse here, a lot shorter than what he would have been against John Bon. But I think that he was just exceptional, wasn't he, last time? His jumping display was just magnificent. Probably the best I've seen Captain Guinness jump, actually, in his whole career. And if he would have jumped like that again, I can't see anything getting to him. I think 6-4 is probably a bit skinny, but I think he'll probably go and do the business. I don't think he's a worse bet. I think he's around a general 20-1 shot for a champion chase. Don't think that's the worst bet in the world at this current stage. Jack, who do you like?
Yeah, you say 6-4 is probably a little bit skinny. I don't really see what's beating him there, unless Gentleman to Me can kind of bounce back. I'm not even too sure if Gentleman to Me is going, and B, he's had 246 days off. I don't really see what's beating Captain Guinness, if I'm being honest. Captain Guinness, I think, is probably actually maybe even half a point. Oh, sorry, not half a point, but I think even money's where I'd probably say is a fair price, because I don't really see him being beaten. I mean, I thought it was really impressive last time out now, and he jumped beautifully. I'd make that a career best performance. I know he was rated £1 higher for his second to John Bon at Sandown, but John Bon's come out and frank that form no ends. And I know sometimes in April you can kind of have a look at the Celebration Chase form and it doesn't quite hold up, but he was 15 lengths ahead of Grenadine and another 11 ahead of Editor de Gite that day, who clearly doesn't perform, mind you. But look, he's clearly up there with probably just outside El Fabiolo and John Bon as, I'd say, probably the third best 2-mile chaser we have at the moment. I'd say hopefully he'll be able to go and prove that on the 27th. So at 6-4, I think Captain Guinness isn't actually the worst bet in the world.
Okay, yeah, and like I said, 20-1 for the champion chase. The reason I find that not a bad bet is because if you were to get John Bon and El Fabiolo turn up, I think a lot of horses run scared. It'd be a small field, and you never know. Captain Guinness might end up running a 4 on a field. 20-1 with 3 places wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. And you just never know with horse racing. Horses do get injured. Obviously, you want to see the big clash, so God forbid. But you know, if a horse were to get injured, he'd have a right chance in there. And I think if he would have jumped like he did at Navan, he'd be there or thereabouts. Going on to the 28th now, stay at Leopardstown for the Jack de Bromhead Christmas Hurdle, another Grade 1 over 3 miles. It's the 150 there on the 28th. And Home by the Lee and Irish Point currently topping the market at 5-2. Sir Gerhard is 4-1. Absolute Notions is 8-1. Monkfish is 11-1. 14-1 About a Steering for Longin Buddy 1 and 20-1. And bigger the rest in here. I thought Home by the Lee back up to 3 miles was going to be very tough to beat here. But I also found that if Zanahiyr were to take a chance in here and step up for the first time to a 3-mile trip, I would say that this 20-1 might be a bit big. I think there shouldn't be that much of a difference between the two horses on form. I think Home by the Lee is going to improve and probably go and win this. I'd say 5-2 is not a bad price at all. But Zanahiyr, if turning up at 20-1, is far too big in here, Jack. I just think this horse has always looked like he wanted a staying trip. I think he has actually tried this once, I believe, or am I wrong there? Yeah, he was pulled up, actually, but behind Home by the Lee. But I'd give this horse another shot over 3 miles. I really would. But yeah, Home by the Lee is my winner in here. I think Zanahiyr is going to be a big price of turning up on the day at 20-1. How do you look at this one?
Oh, I think the staying division is just a bit of a mess, to be honest.
Dreadful.
It's a very tricky race, A, from just looking at it from the outside, but B, if you want to try and have a bet on it as well, it's a very, very tricky betting proposition. Completely agree with Home by the Lee. He's the most consistent customer you have there. A very worthy favourite, I think. Won last year's Liz Mullen, and this race, of course, last year pretty comfortably in the end. Gave a good account at Cheltenham, was a no-show next time out after a long season, and wasn't really disgraced. Went third behind Bob Olinger last time out in the Step Up and Trip Suit. Look at 5-2. Am I going to be getting involved? Absolutely not. Not sure what the plan is with Asterion for Longe, but I hope they send him here. of course, he's an absolute nutcase, but you've got to love him when he was second to Classical Dream, of course, in April, only beaten half a length. He is a very, very good dual purpose horse in the sense that over fences or hurdles. I know that's not quite the right terminology, but look, on his day, he's very, very capable. If he decides to stay on his feet, and he does go here, a steering for longs is around 14-1, and he's probably the way I'd be looking each way.
Yeah, the fact that Monkfish is 11-1 and Steering and Florence just 14-1 shows a bit of a mess of what this division is, to be honest. Because these horses, if they were to go and win it, then it just shows how much of a mess it could be. But okay, yeah, look, Steering for Longe would be fascinating if turning up there, and you just never know what you're going to get out of a Steering for Longe. 14-1 may look a bit big. Jack and I both in agreement that Home by the Lead is probably the right favourite in here, and I'm going to be with Zanna here at 20-1 if turning up on the big day. We've got another race there on the 28th, which is the Savills Chase. This is the big one there, kind of like the Christmas Gold Cup you could call over there, but it's 3 mile and half a furlong, another grade 1. We're galloping to Champs. This looks the plan now. 7-4 favourite, Fast or Slow 11-4, Gentleman's Game 4-1, Jerry Colomb 13-2, could be rerouted here. Long Press is 8-1, Stage Star is 8-1, 10-1 about Enviolent, 14-1, and bigger about the rest of the field. Yeah, Jerry Colomb could end up coming here. Gentleman's Game is out of this race. I mean, these are the prices that we've got anti-post, but Gentleman's Game is not coming here. So for the Rob Core colours, Jerry Colomb could actually come here and make an absolute classic with Galloping de Champs and Fast or Slow in here. Galloping de Champs would look, it'd be exciting to see him again come out and hopefully put in a much better display, but he was behind Fast or Slow last time, and I think Fast or Slow is a really, really, really good horse and looks to me like a proper Gold Cup horse. I'm really excited about this. If this horse was trained by, we always say this, but if this horse was trained by a Gordon Elliott or Mullins, would this horse be favourite for a race like this, Jack?
Yeah, probably. Probably. Mind you, I think Galopin de Champs just going to go and win this.
Really?
I just don't think the race at all in the John Durkins played out to what he wanted it to over an inferior trip. There was a slow early pace. There was a 114% finishing speed. It turned into an absolute sprint over a trip which Galopin de Champs clearly doesn't want. Look, he wouldn't have been finely tuned in the sense that it wasn't his big day. Of course, it wasn't for Fast or Slow as well. And Martin Brazel made that very clear. But over the final 3 fences, they were 12 lengths quicker than Imagine, who won over 2 miles on the same day. So I think Galopin de Champs stepping back in trip, they'll go an honest gallop, and I think he'll be able to pick them off. He's 7-4 here, and I think he'll probably go in. I think this is going to be the weekend where the curse of the Gold Cup having its lasting effects on the front two are going to be swept aside. I think Braveman's Game and Galopin de Champs are both going to go in and both go straight back to the head of the Gold Cup market. Another one who's entered, who probably won't go here, but Farouk Delane's entered, who we saw in November, but of course fell when tanking in the RSA last year behind Long Press. I'm excited to see what he's going to do this year. I'll be interested if he lines up in the Savills Chase. He's definitely a stout stayer, but he's another one to keep your eye on. But Galopin de Champs going to bounce back in good style, Sam.
Okay, Galloping de Champs for Jack. I'm going to be Fast or Slow. We haven't mentioned too much about Jerry Colomb, both within the King George market or this market here. I mean, it sounds like to me, Jack, you're in kind of my camp in terms of the fact you're not underplaying the hype of Jerry Colomb and the hope of him winning a Gold Cup, but you don't think he's as good of a bet for a Gold Cup as most people seem to think at this moment in time.
No, he's still got it all to prove. He's definitely a hype horse, that's for sure. And usually what I find with hype horses is that they usually take up too much of the market and there's a bit of value elsewhere. Look, they're clearly trying to wrap him up in cotton wool without wrapping him up in cotton wool, and they'll avoid Galopin de Champs like the plague, I can imagine, until March. So now they said they're not going to go to the King George. They're slowly backtracking and thinking maybe we should go to the King George if Galopin's going to go to the Savills. He's clearly a stout stayer. He did what he had to do at Down Royal last time out, beating Envoy Allen and Conflated. It was a good performance, but I still think he's got it all to prove. He's definitely a stout stayer, but the pace they go early in a Gold Cup, I think he's definitely got it all to prove.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with you. Look, if he were to win a Savills, if he does go here and win it impressively, then we are talking about a proper Gold Cup horse, but he has still got plenty to prove. We've got to preview one race at Limerick on the 28th as well, which is the 205 there. It's the Guinness Faheen Novice Chase, 2.5 mile grade 1. And Gaelic Warrior tops the market at 2-1 on. Corbett's Cross is 6-1. Founder 50, 7-1. Blood Destiny 8-1. 10-1 about American Mike and 12-1 and bigger about the rest of them in here. A lot of these aren't going to go, Jack. I don't think it's going to be a big field. And Gaelic Warrior, he looks one of Willie Mullins' best novice chasers this season.
Yeah, Gaelic Warrior, I will go and win, won't he? Look, he's 2 to 5. The likes of Corbett's Cross and Founder 50 and behind on in the same league. Blood Destiny will hopefully take a step forward. But look, Gaelic Warrior is probably, in my perspective, the most impressive novice chaser we've seen this year. Jump with ease, travel with ease, has an unbelievable engine. Looks like he's probably a little bit more versatile trip-wise than we first thought. And hopefully he'll go and win this in good style onto taking bigger things in March.
Yeah, if you had to play the game of Willie Mullins bingo, you don't have to have a bet, but which race is he going to go for at Cheltenham?
The Turners. I think he's probably going to be a bit of a Goldilocks. He can stay 3, he can go 2, send him to 2.5, I reckon.
Absolutely, I completely agree with you, but I won't be having a bet at the prices now. He's probably very skinny for a race like that. But yeah, looking forward to seeing how impressive he can be on the 28th. We're on to the 29th now. We've got a couple of races still to cover. We've got the Neville Hotels Novice Chase, a 3-mile Grade 1 here. This is a more competitive novice chase looking at the betting currently, where Classical Dream is 5-2, Corbett's Cross is 5-1, Favori de Chamdou is 5-1, Florian Porter is 6-1, Grange Clare West is 7s, Factor File and Sandor Kagan are 8 and double figure. About the rest of the field, I was impressed by Classical Dream last time out, but I was also impressed by the Gordon Elliott trained Favori de Chamdou, who I think is I'd say far to be a price. 5-1. It's not a massive price, but I think this horse is a really good bet. I was really impressed by the way he went and beat Florian Porter, who was 3rd that day. Florian Porter's 6-1 here. Favori de Chamdou's 5-1. I think if they go a strong enough pace, which you often get in these novice chases over in Ireland, I'd say this horse is a really, really good bet. Sandal Kagan was behind, 14 lengths behind, though, you've got to remember. He absolutely smashed them this day. And you go and look at the form. I know this horse was beaten by a horse he actually battered the next time out, Affordable Fury, but I've got a feeling that Favori de Chamdou is just improving over fences. I think we're going to see a really impressive display. And I've got a feeling we could see a potential Cheltenham Festival winner. I think we're looking at a Brown Advisory horse here in Favori de Chamdou. I mean, it's obvious to say with him over 3 miles, but don't know what price he is currently. I'll have a look while Jack tells us who his winner is. But I'd say Favori de Chamdou at 5-1 is a really good bet in the Neville Hotels Novice Chase. Jack, what about yourself?
I completely agree. It seems like we're in agreement quite a lot here this Christmas, which is usually quite an ominous feature of the show. But no, Favori de Chamdou, I completely agree. He seems the most genuine stayer, doesn't he? I don't know if he's the classiest, but I mean, to win that Jaguar Land Rover Norris Hurdle that he won last year, the one that's on this weekend, which is usually run on a bog over 2 miles, 7 furlongs, you have to be a stout enough stayer. He did that over hurdles, and he showed that, of course, at Punchestown in the Florida Pearl. So I do think he is the most likely winner. One who I think is probably a little bit overpriced is Nick Roquette. If he's going to go here, Nick Roquette, however you'd like to say it, is 20-1. He was, of course, 4th last time out, behind the likes of Corbett's Cross and 3-Card Bragg and Monty Star. He jumped up to his left a lot, of course. I don't know how much of that's going to be a problem. His jumping left plenty to be desired, but he won a point-to-point over 3 miles, so the trip clearly isn't going to be an issue. He was squeezed for room a little bit. It wasn't the clearest of passages that he got that day, and I think he'll probably be able to take a step forward. Is he going to amount into a Grade 1 winner over fences? I'm not too sure, but he's 20-1, and I think he's probably a little bit overpriced.
Yeah, he looks a bit of a national hunt chase horse to me. Could have been a proper star. Found out that Favori de Chamdou is currently 20-1 for the Brown Advisory Novice Chase. I'll tell you now, he'll be single figure odds if winning in this field. But make of that what you will. I mean, I haven't really had much of an anti-post bet this year, Jack, to be honest. I think the anti-post market's been a bit disappointing. I think they have been every year. They're getting more and more disappointing from an anti-post play perspective. You see a horse go and win a novice hurdle and suddenly they're 4-1 for the race. I mean, we saw that with Jericho de Ripponnet at Newbury, which was just obscene. It really was, the price that horse went. But I don't know. I don't know whether you, even over in Hong Kong, whether you've had much of a play anti-post on anything.
I've not had one. Not one.
Yeah.
I think the markets are so prohibitive. I don't think there's too much value anywhere at the moment. Yeah. Hopefully this week you'll be able to find something. But other than that, I mean, it's pretty tough, isn't it?
I mean, I've had one bet. I had a £5 win bet on Masaccio for the Albert Bartlett, which is the horse that got done in a photo a few weeks back at Newbury. Stepping on a trip, you never know, but I wouldn't be too excited about that. But it was 50-1. Thought it was overpriced, and I actually don't think he's going to win now. So that is what anti-post does to you, doesn't it? One more race to cover. The 2:20 on the 29th is the Matheson Hurdle over 2 miles, another Grade 1. And State Man tops the market at 5-2 on. Imperi Pass is 7-2. Echoes in Rain 9-1. Vauban is 12-1. Bob Allen just 16-1, 20-1, and bigger about the rest of the field. I actually don't think Imperi Pass is going to turn up here, Jack. So what price should Stateman be?
6-1 on. Oh, goodness me. There's a lot of great racing this weekend, but it looks like there's a lot of processions as well at the same time, especially in the bigger races. I think the better betting propositions are going to come from those tough handicap hurdles and whatnot. I think most of the good top class racing, bar a few of the races, are more or less Willie Myers processions, aren't they?
Absolutely, yeah. Look, he could be really impressive here. I've asked this question to a few people now, but who finishes second to Constitution Hill, Imperi Pass or Stateman? Stateman, yeah, I'm in agreement. I think Stateman is I think he's definitely a horse on the up. I'm not saying he's going to challenge Constitution Hill, but I'd say he might get a little bit closer than he did last time. But again, I'm not saying he's going to beat him, but I just think he's an exciting horse.
I get what you mean. I think in terms of the Imperial Pass and Stateman question, it's the age-old experience over promise and prospect question. But in terms of Constitution Hill, I think what people saw at Aintree weren't exactly holes in Constitution Hill, but it wasn't exactly as impressive as people would have liked to see from him. And hey, look, I mean, if he goes and wins it by 5 lengths instead of what he did last year, I mean, you'd still be happy. But yeah, I completely agree. I think Stateman he's a little bit, I feel a little bit bad for Stateman. He's kind of like Tim Henman. He's just around, or an Andy Murray. He's just around at the wrong time, isn't he? Poor fella. And I say that, I know he wins a bundle of Group 1s, but he deserves a champion hurdle, doesn't he, Sam?
Stateman being described as Tim Henman. That's what it's come to. Wow. I don't think I've ever, that's a weird reference. We'll take it. Is there anything else over the Christmas period that you're looking forward to, Jack? Are there any other horses to keep an eye out for?
Not so much over the Christmas period because entries we're not too sure where they are. Spirit Donu's entered, I think, on Saturday. It's Ascot. I hope he doesn't take up that engagement because I think the ground's going to be good to soft. But I think he's definitely one for the Betfair hurdle if it's run on soft ground. Gary Moore likes to target that with a 5-year-old. I think he's top class. Is Spirit Donu. He showed that at Sandown last time out, and hopefully he can go very close in the Betfair hurdle in February.
Yeah, I imagine they'll play Hansard in that race. That'll probably be the likely, who was, again, really impressive last time out. One horse that I'll be looking forward to, again, not necessarily over the Christmas period, but coming up on Saturday in the Long Walk Hurdle, would be the Gary Moore trained Botox Has. I know it's not a preview without me mentioning a Gary Moore horse, but look, I could have selected Nassalam up in the Welsh National, which I didn't do. But I really think Botox Has is a good bet in here. Callan Quinn is on this horse who gets along with him really, really well. And we've already said how much of a mess of the staying division it is. I mean, Paisley Park and Champ at 11 years old, if they were to go and win this, I mean, amazing in terms of story and for the game, but in terms of the level of the stayers hurdle and the staying division, it just doesn't set a bar, does it? Botox Has, he's a 7-year-old. He's definitely on the up. I was really impressed by what he did last time against Red Risk at Weatherby. And you've got to remember, Gary Moore's horses was so out of form. Dashel Drasher was 3rd, Time Hill. Unfortunately, we lost Time Hill, but Time Hill was 4th. Dashel Drasher since come out and won. The form's been boosted there. Gary Moore's horses are now absolutely flying. You're seeing gamblers on his horses consistently now, knowing that they're in form. I think he's looking here. He's 8-1. I think that's far too big for this horse. Again, I'd love to see Paisley Park and Champ battle it out. I think Crambo's got a lot to prove. I know this horse has been very well hyped, but was only 3rd in a stayers handicap hurdle. Has got a lot to do from there. And West Balboa, I was actually a big fan of this horse this time last year. I remember putting this horse up to win at Kempton, the Lanzarote, and won in really good style. But I just think she's another one that I just want to see her do it in impressive style once again. So yeah, Botox has 8-1. I think he's going to be probably one of my best bets of the Christmas period.
Yeah. West Balboa, I think she also needs pretty deep ground, and that Lanzarote, I think only about 5 finished that day, didn't they? It was as deep as anything. I know she went and won at Aintree, but I'm not sure the ground's actually going to be soft enough for her. And I completely agree with you. I think Botox Has is a big price. I think Crambo's the one to beat, but nearly 3 times the price. I completely agree. Botox Has is a great bet.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, we'll give a best bet over the Christmas period. I mean, if we had to give one for just in general, Botox Has would be my nap. But if you wanted one for the actual kind of after Christmas period, I'm going to put Throne on each way at 66-1 as one of my best. Oh, you can agree with me. You can agree with if you wanted to steal it, but I think he's just far too big a price. He should be probably about 25s, 33s in my opinion.
Oh, fantastic. Then that's great to see. Mine is going to be Brave Man's Game Redemption. He's going to make it 3 from 3 at Kempton he's 11-4, and I think he's going to brush Allaho aside. And also, I think I'll also put up the Gold Cup redemption double, I'm going to call it. I think it's about 10-1. Galopin Des Champs and Braveman's Game to win their respective races.
There you go. Yeah, nice 10-1 double there. Galopin Des Champs and Braveman's Game. I think we're both going to be on the Braveman's Game. Frodon, Paul Nicholls, reverse forecast, hoping that Frodon goes and wins it. Braveman's Game second for the payout. But we'll have to wait and see. Really looking forward to that, Jack. So, what's your plans over Christmas? Obviously in Hong Kong.
It's a very quiet Christmas. There's a lot of racing on. We've got racing on the 23rd, the 26th and the 29th, I want to say. So a lot of racing going on over here. Hopefully be able to cook up a turkey as well. I'm not sure how that's going to end up. But other than that, hopefully just ticking along and looking forward to the racing. What about you, Sam?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the picture of that turkey, seeing how that looks. I don't know what time I'm going to receive that picture, mind you, knowing the time difference, but it's what it is. Yeah, just a lot of time with the family. Got plenty going on at the Racing Post with loads of shows coming up before Christmas and plenty going on after Christmas. But I've got a little bit of time off, so a nice bit of food, nice few drinks, and a few games with the family will do me. So looking forward to that. Yeah, look, wishing you a Merry Christmas, Jack. Wishing all of our followers a Merry Christmas. I know we haven't been as active. That's due to the fact that Jack and I are just so busy at the moment. You guys, our viewers, you were the ones that helped us get to, or were part of the reason of where we've got to now. So we can only thank you for that. We wish you all a very Merry Christmas. We wish you loads of winners. Obviously gamble responsibly, and look, we can all pray that Frodon goes and wins a King George at 66-1. That'd be a real Merry Christmas. So yeah, thanks very much. As always, like, comment, share and subscribe, and we will see you again in the new year. Thanks for watching.